Hi folks, welcome back. We are going to go over lesson 2.4 and we're going to look at equations with no solutions and infinitely many solutions. We're on page 107. Okay, so let's start off with what we've been doing so far. When we're able to solve an equation, and get an answer, such as x equals 2, that's called one solution. We got an answer, that's a solution, right? So when you get an answer, x equals 2, y equals 7, whatever it is. If you're able to solve it and get an answer, that's one solution. Okay, so now, when you start solving an equation, this is what no solution looks like. No solution. Okay, so when you're solving it and you are left with a final answer of a false statement, an untrue statement, a false statement, such as 2 equals 3. 2 doesn't equal 3. That is not true. Okay, so when you end up with something like that, or 7 equals -3, 7 doesn't equal -3. So when everything else is cancels out and disappears and you end with a false statement, that is no solution. You can't come up with an answer. Okay, so far, if you're able to solve and get an answer, that's one solution. When you can't get an answer and you end up with a false statement like this, that is no solution. And then the third one is infinitely many solutions. So we can solve an equation and then get a true statement, such as 2 equals 2, or 7 equals 7, or 10 equals 10. If you end up with a true statement, or everything is the same on both sides, 7 does equal 7, or something like 2x plus 3 equals 2x plus 3. So that's true. The left side does equal the right side. Everything's the same. So at this point, we could stop and say, oh, there are infinitely many solutions. That means no matter what number we plug in for x on both sides, we're always going to get a true statement like this. Okay, so the third and final solution you could get is infinitely many solutions. So let's solve a couple and see what that looks like. Okay, so let's try this one. I am on page 106 now under the try it problems, okay? So let's try solving this first one. Okay, so I am now going to combine like terms. I have a 3x and then a 2.5x over here, so I'm going to subtract the 2.5x from both sides. Okay, so then these cancel each other out. 3x take away 2.5x is a half x, 0.5x, plus 1.5 equals 4.7. Okay, now I need to get the 1.5 and the 4.7 together. So I'm going to subtract 1.5 from both sides because they're on opposite sides. So then I have a half x left over here equals, this take away this would be 3.2. And then my last step would be to divide by a half, divide by 0.5. And so that divided by itself is 1, and then 3.2 divided by a half would be 6.4. So look, I am able to get an answer. I got an answer. This is definitely one solution. I got one answer, one solution. Okay, so now let's take a look at this next one right here. So I do see distributive property. So let's solve this first and get rid of this parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 would be 6. And then I have equals 3x minus 6 over here. Okay, so some of you might be noticing 3x plus 6 equals 3x minus 6. Well, they don't equal each other. So let's keep solving and see what happens. So now I have 3x's on both sides. They're the exact same. So I just need to pick one and do the inverse operation. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, so 3x take away 3x is 0. Those cancel each other out. I just have that positive 6 left. Bring down your equal sign. And then 3x take away 3x is 0 again. And so those cancel out, and then I have this negative 6 left. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I have 6 equals negative 6. That is a false statement. That doesn't make any sense. 6 does not equal negative 6. So because I wasn't able to get an answer and what I have left doesn't make sense, this is no solution. I cannot come up with an answer because I ended up with something that is not true, false. Okay, let's solve the next one and see what happens. So I have this 9x this 9x minus 4 on the left side. And now I do see I have a 5x and a 4x. That's a positive 5x and that's a positive 4x. So I just need to add those two together. 5x plus 4x is 9x. And then I have this minus 4 left. Okay, so take a look at both sides of this equation. We have 9x minus 4 equals 9x minus 4. That is true. The left side equals the right side. Everything is exactly the same. So now this is a true statement. So this would be infinitely many solutions. So let's say maybe you didn't realize this. You could keep solving, but you don't have to. At this point, you see that everything is the same on both sides. So this is infinitely many solutions. But if we keep solving, 9x here and a 9x here, well, let's do the inverse and subtract 9x from both sides. They're both the same. So 9x take away 9x is 0. These are opposites, and they cancel each other out. They equal 0. So I have a negative 4 left on this side. Equals. Same thing here. 9x take away 9x is 0, and I have that negative 4x on this side. See, if I keep solving, I'm just proving that negative 4 equals negative 4. Since that is a true statement, then this would be infinitely many solutions. Infinitely many solutions would be my answer because I got a true statement. And you could also stop right here if you see that that is true right there. Same thing. Okay, let's do just try a couple more of those. So now I'm back on page 107 where I started before. Okay, so let's try this one. Let's get rid of the set of parentheses by using distributive property and multiplying. 3 times 2.4x is 7.2x. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, let's bring down this side. Oh, before I bring down this side, I see that I have this 4.1x and this 3.1x. Those are both positive and they're like terms on the same side. So let's add those together. 4.1x plus 3.1x is 7.2x, and then I have that plus 7. Okay, so now some of you might be noticing what your answer is. Let's just keep solving. So I have the 7.2x's on opposite sides. So let's subtract 7.2x from both sides. Okay, so 7.2x take away itself. Those are opposites, and that equals 0. So I just have that 12 left. And then look, these are the same thing. This take away this is 0. Those are opposites, so they cancel each other out. And then I have that 7. 12 does not equal 7. That's not true, so this is a no solution. Okay, so now let's do one last one. So I have the 7x plus 3x, that equals 10x, and then I have minus 8. Now let's use distributive property here and multiply. 2 times 5x is 10x, and 2 times a negative 4 would be negative 8. So folks, you can see this is true. I have the exact same thing on both sides. 10x take away 8 does equal 10x take away 8. So since this is a true statement, this would be infinitely many solutions. I hope that helps.